What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you on SoFi. Pretty interesting day, massive sell-off. I'm going to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what might be coming next and everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So SoFi did go down 13.89%. Absolutely crazy. Tons of volume, 82.3 million shares being traded. 44 is the average. And like I mentioned yesterday, a lot of algorithmic trading, as you can kind of tell right there. Very little just manual buying and selling. So not necessarily the best. It does look like the broader market does want to pull back, especially considering a lot of analysts have been coming out saying that the market is too hot, too overbought. So that definitely started out as a negative. And then obviously yesterday after hours, give or take, there was a new rating. I've already done a video on all of this yesterday, but Michael, who does have a 64% success rating, gave a downgrade 650 price target. And in the past, Michael has been oddly very accurate with his predictions with SoFi. So once again, a lot of people are anticipating a pullback. And as a result of what happened today, that just escalated the technicals so much more. So I'm going to give you a good overview of everything. Today, there was no news, no SEC filings, nothing like that. We are just waiting for SoFi to announce their Q4 earnings. So most likely that'll be first week of February or last week of January, sometime around there, but that would be the best case scenario. When it comes to shorts, a lot of people were saying that shorts were making so much money today and that they are going to be in for it or whatever else. Surprisingly, shorts didn't do all that much, and that's kind of bullish. Take that with a grain of salt, of course, but utilization is 28.55. Shorts did increase 19 or almost 20,000 shares today, so a very small drop in the bucket, considering almost 10 million shares or more than 10 million shares is available to be shorted. So shorts didn't really do all that much. You can kind of tell that based on the teal line as well. So they were kind of quiet, just sitting back, watching the broader market just do its thing with SoFi. 13.74% of the free floats being shorted and 122.85 million shares overall are being shorted. So in my opinion, I kind of see this as somewhat cautiously optimistic information. Looking at the options activity, 15 million in call options being purchased versus 13 in puts. So kind of evenly divided. Sentiment wise, 46% of all the options being done today were bearish. So people clearly are anticipating a little bit more of a pullback. Of the call options that were purchased, it is anticipated for it to be above $8 by the end of next week. So obviously people are anticipating a pullback. Looking at the puts, people are anticipating for it to be similarly below $8. So $8 seems to be that key pivot going into next week. And oddly, because of the pullback that did happen today, the technicals, so for those of you that really do like the Elliott wave technicals, that just massively just broke down. So it does show right here that it has about a $8.83 pivot. So assuming it was going to stay above that, then it was anticipated to get between roughly the $10 and $11 range. But since we are now below that, then it is anticipated to go anywhere between 745 and 797 in the short term. Even if you are one of those individuals that likes to look at the fib levels like myself, because of today's sell-off, it went further than even the S3. So you kind of have to zoom out and looking at the 1 day. So in theory, with it closing at $8.31, it is between this S1 and the pivot. So $7.94 is going to be that next strong support that you'll want to watch for it to hold. And coincidentally, that is where it does, or the Elliott wave technicals do point that is going next. So not the best overall. Give yourself a shout out if you did buy today. I did buy at 860 because I feel like the Q4 earnings will be fairly good, but I do agree that the technicals are just completely breaking down. So I'm not trying to catch the bottom. I realize that SoFi is going to be very volatile, but I'm really in it for the long haul. So you guys do your own due diligence, obviously. But over and above that, $9.20 is going to be that next strong resistance. Very wide gap, so once again, just anticipate a hell of a lot of volatility. I just wanted to play this one quick video. It's only about 50 seconds, give or take. But this, again, kind of puts it in perspective on what is truly happening with the broader market and why, bigger picture, it might be a good time to accumulate and buy a lot of good valued stocks. In my opinion, SoFi is one of them. So
another day, another
let me know
week,
your thoughts.
and probably for many months. It does take us to our talk of the tape, how to play the markets right now as the Santa Claus rally ends and investors position for whatever a new year might bring. Let's ask Josh Brown, CEO and co-founder of 𝗪𝗓𝗧𝗛 Wealth Management. He is with me here at Post 9. All right, so 2 days of red in a row. I said we had some buying of mega caps. You had to believe at some point investors are going to look at declines in those stocks and say enough's enough. Enough is enough. The best stories in the market, and those are the best plays still.
So I agree, and we talked yesterday on the half about just like why are people selling? Obviously, nothing fundamentally changed. People have massive gains in these stocks, especially if they held them through the fourth quarter. And if they did that and they were waiting for an opportunity to take the profit, I'm on the wealth management side, so I already know the way financial advisors think, the way high net worth investors think is, all right, we're going to take 10% off the table, but why would we do it in this fiscal year and owe the taxes in April? Let's push that decision a little, let's push that tax liability a little bit further out without taking significant risk. This first week of January, after a massive, very sector-specific rally in the market, makes perfect sense to see profit taking. I also think there's a lot of rebalance activity. You combine those two things on the scale of trillions of dollars, that's how you get these stocks start the year looking like they're stumbling, but really, fundamentally, their businesses are not stumbling.
Let's talk.
So exactly a very good point, because even if you look at SoFi over the last 1 month, still up 3.75%. And that's not even counting this nice rally into the $9 and $10 range. So this pullback is still kind of good for SoFi and a lot of value stocks, especially as SoFi does get to that 790 range. Potentially, it is going to really entice a lot of value investors and a lot of value institutions to buy SoFi for the long term. So it's just one of those rinse and repeat cycles that it's just the name of the game. These are some of the transactions that did occur on the secondary market above $100,000. So not a lot. There was one first thing, so 6.36, but similar to yesterday, you see a lot of buying here, but the fact that it went down as much as it did, a lot of algorithmic trading. So that's going to be something that plagues the broader market in at least the foreseeable future. And like I mentioned, just the bigger entities want SoFi and some other stocks just to trend down. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi. Based on this, it does show a number of retail investors have been getting out ever since December the 19th. And stochastic, it is kind of resetting this. So this whole downtrend is kind of good for SoFi because it was similar to the broader market, very overbought. So currently it is at 55. You do see a bearish sentiment right now, so red line above the black. But if it does continue to go down and bounce off of that, for instance, 790 range, that might reset the technicals enough for it to bounce off of that and trend higher. But let me know your thoughts. Do you think that's going to happen, or do you think it's going to break that into maybe even the sixes, fives? What's your take on SoFi? And once again, give yourself a shout out if you were bold enough to buy today, or if you sold. What have you been doing? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate that. And with that, I appreciate all of you watching.